specific kind of hatred that lives in your bones, not the kind that fades, not the kind you outgrow, the kind that was placed inside you before you were old enough to ask why. I hated Aries Voss for as long as I could remember, and he hated me right back. That was the only honest thing between us. Till the night of the Voss gala when I walked into that chandelier-lit ballroom in a dress that cost more than most people's rent, and he looked at me from across the room like I was the only thing in it, not with hatred, with something that looked terrifying like grief. I should have left. I should have turned around and walked out and never looked back. Instead, I walked toward him, and everything I thought I knew about my life shattered before the night was over. I had not seen Aries Voss in 7 years. 7 years since we were 18, and tearing each other apart at every elite social function our families forced us to attend together. 7 years since the night of the Blackwell Cherry Ball when he looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You don't belong in this world, Sophia, you never did." 7 years. And yet the moment I walked into that ballroom, my body knew he was there before my eyes found him, prickling at the back of my neck, a tightening in my chest. Muscle memory of someone you spent years trying to forget. I found him by the floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the glittering city below, dark suit, sharp jaw, a glass of whiskey held loosely in one hand like everything around him bored him completely. He was looking directly at me. He had been looking at me since I walked in. I realized that with a jolt, he hadn't been scanning the room. He had been waiting for me. I lifted my chin and crossed the marble floor toward him because I was Sophia Coway and I did not flinch. Not for anyone, especially not for him. "Voss," I said. "Coway." His voice was lower than I remembered, quieter, something careful living underneath it. "You look." "Don't," I said pleasantly. "Whatever you're about to say, don't." The corner of his mouth moved, almost a smile, almost something sadder than that. "I was going to say you look exactly the same," he said. "Like you're ready for a fight you haven't started yet. With you, always." He looked at me for a long moment, that dark, unreadable gaze moving across my face like he was searching for something specific. "Dance with me," he said. I laughed, short and sharp. "Absolutely not, Sophia. The answer is no, Aries. It has always been no. That is the one consistent thing about us." He set his glass down, turned to face me fully, and said quietly, so quietly only I could hear it over the music and the laughter and the clinking of crystal glasses, "I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you 7 years ago. Please, just one dance." Something in his voice stopped me, not the words. The underneath of the words. Something raw and desperate, poorly dressed up in his usual composure. I took his hand. I told myself it was curiosity. Only curiosity. I was lying. Narrator, he danced the way he did everything like he owned the space completely and was simply allowing others to exist in it. One hand on my waist. One hand holding mine. Close enough that I could smell him expensive cologne and something warmer underneath it. Close enough that I had to remind myself to stay rigid. To remember every reason I despised this man. There were many reasons. I had a list. "You counting the reasons you hate me?" he said, blinked. "Excuse me, your jaw does this thing." He glanced down at me. "When you're cycling through your grievances, it always has. You don't know what my jaw does. You've been watching your jaw since we were 11 years old, Sophia. I know every single thing it does." The words landed strangely, too intimate for enemies, too specific for someone who claimed to despise me as thoroughly as I despised him. "What did you want to tell me?" I said, redirecting. Safer, his hand tightened slightly on my waist. 1 degree. Felt it like a current. "Not here," he said. "Not like this. Come with me after. Somewhere we can talk without an audience. You want me to leave a gala with you?" "Yes, Aries. You told me 7 years ago that I don't belong in your world." Something crossed his face, fast and painful. "I know what I said." "Then you understand why I'm not exactly rushing to be alone with you." I said it to protect you. His voice dropped. "I know that makes no sense. I know you have no reason to believe me. But I need you to give me 1 hour and I will explain everything." I searched his face. Aries Voss did not beg. He did not explain himself. He did not look at anyone the way he was looking at me right now, like his composure was held together by the thinnest thread, and I was the only one who could decide whether it snapped. 1 hour, I said, and then I never want to see you again. "Deal," he said, pulling me closer. He took me to the Voss estate. Of course he did. 40 minutes outside the city, up a private road lined with lights, through iron gates that opened before we even slowed down. The kind of wealth that didn't announce itself because it didn't have to. I had been here once as a child. I remembered marble floors and ceilings, so high they made you feel small. I remembered feeling out of place in a way I couldn't articulate, like a painting hung on the wrong wall. Inside, the house was quiet. Staff dismissed for the evening, just the two of us and the sound of our footsteps echoing. Aries poured 2 glasses of wine without asking and handed me one. I took it without arguing. That felt significant somehow. "Sit down," he said. "I prefer to stand." "Of course you do." He set his own glass down and faced me. "Sophia, what do you know about your parents?" I blinked. "What?"